Alrighty, so I'm going to build this kit I just got in. So when you watch this, my plan is and was to just do it as a one-part build as a video. There's not a lot to this kit, I don't think so. More so is how it will fit. I've done one of the Modell Collect's Fist of War, which is a series or whatever it is, I don't know, wargaming, whatever, one of their tanks, and it was dead set crap. It didn't fit. The turret sitting on top of the hole in the hull was too big for the turret. I had to modify it all. It was a nightmare. But anyway, I've had a look at this, and this looks more promising. So I'm not going to review the whole thing. We'll just have a quick look at the parts. So canopy is all good, nice and clear. I think. What's that? There's a mark in there, is it? Don't know what that is. A ghost, looks like a ghost mark. I can't feel it. Looks like a bit of a, I thought it was a hair. Run all there. Have a better look at it through my visor. Decal sheet, so obviously it's the Luft 46, never existed paper machine. Probably got as far as the drawing board. Like just a huge percentage of German models out there for this sort of thing, which, to be honest, I do like a bit of weird and wacky stuff. So, and I did get this on a really good price, so I thought I'll give it a go, because when I saw it was coming out, I was keen on it, but I thought, ugh, Modell Collect, do I want to take the risk? And when they dropped one of the hobby stores had a huge sale, and I thought, oh, well, I'll give it a go. So it doesn't look too bad for the detail. So you got rivet detail, all those hatches, all recess, just got huge bloody chunky ejection sprue ports going to it. Those big ones, I'll be cutting them with a razor saw because they're so big. And I've had a bit of a dry fit. It's not going to fit probably because of them, but I'm not cutting them off yet. But they look to fit. That area looks to fit okay. And I did manage to get this sorted together. There's little slots. There you go. That should be alright. Just be that seam to clean up. It looks like it's got separate slats on it. So you're looking at 29 centimeters wingspan, and ooh, stabbed myself. Alright, so we got the control surfaces are on a sprue. Again, they've got ridiculous sprue gates that actually comes onto the part, that so when you cut it, you have to sand more off it because it's molded onto the actual part. So a little cockpit tub bulkhead behind the pilot, and you got Wheels look alright, the detail on them. Engine fans. Oh, I'm guessing, well, I shouldn't guess, I should look. So you're doing construction, is all the fuselage and the actual cockpit isn't. Yeah, that's your instrument panel, which is pretty nicely done for a out of box. You do the nose section last and plug it on. Again, that's another how does it fit? Intakes are a bit iffy. Huge ejection pin, like deep ejection pin marks in there. So hang on, sorry, that's not the intake, that's the rear of the engine. Is it? Hang on. No, right first time. Intake, so that's the front. So that's gonna need taken care of, or come up with some sort of FOD cover. Seeing it's make believe, you can do whatever you want with it. And you got the wheel wells, man, they're deep. Bombay, and the winglets, if you want to call it the winglet or whatever it is, the one that 90 degree off the main wing. You got the gear doors that have interior detail, so it's got pluses, and I'm sure when I start building it, minuses. That should be the slats, which has some flash, need cleaning up, bit of flash here and there on it. So there's your nose section, which a bit of a sand will take you as a real shallow ejection pin mark, so that's alright to clean up. So yeah, not as it doesn't look as bad, excuse me, as I possibly thought it could be, but we'll soon see when I start putting things together. I've put the control surfaces together, so the first two steps, they had those big chunky sprue gates that went onto the part, so I've had to clean them up. I still need to clean up the seam join yet on them. I've just labelled them. I was doing all the preparation parts where I can, and then get to it later so I know where everything goes. The engine nozzles pretty bland, basic. They require a bit of cleanup. There's a lot of flash in the ring, the outer ring piece, and where it joins onto the can part needed a bit of a sand as well. I'm just about to fill in these huge ejector pin marks. So I mixed up some CO glue and that powder. I'll just I haven't mixed enough by the looks of it. I'll have to do that to all of them. Keep it a bit higher than the actual ejection pin recess, so it sands down flush. They are huge, but once that's done, there's pieces that go inside. But yeah, they can't go in until that's all cleaned up. and I've put in the Bombay. I trimmed up, so I had a piece of sprue in here, huge sprue gates on it that needed cleaning up, and because it's curved it was hard to get it, so I used the curved file, diamond file, to clean it up. The Bombay, they don't really show you any direction, but there's it's taller at the front than it is at the back, and it's also got like a chamfer on the edge of it, so that's how you know which end goes where. So per usual, I'm jumping around here and there, doing bits and pieces on this. I've put the wheels together as the norm for kits. There's two halves. Problem with these wheels is that the two halves, when you put them together, you're left with this big gap, and the reason for that is how they're molded. One half has got a recessed lip, and the other half has a extruded or pronounced lip that fits into the other side. So if you want to get a better fit than what I've got here, you would need to sand down the pronounced lip side to get it to sit more flush. I'm building it out of the box, and I'm showing you how it goes together, and this is what you're left with. And another reason I think it's pretty ordinary how they've designed it, but when you put wheels together, sometimes you gotta use a bit of filler anyway, so it's no big deal. But in one sense it is. I mean, that's pretty ordinary how they've designed it, engineered it, I guess. So I'm slowly cleaning out these super glue spots I put on here in these intakes. I'll give it a blast of primer, and I'll probably need, by the looks of it, I've got air bubbles because I mixed that powder, so I'll probably have to do a bit more. Okay, this is probably the best way to show you. Can you see there the lip and the recess? That's how the wheels are as well. That's why I was left, when this is alright and you put it together, there's no gap, but the wheels there was. So the engine fan, they'll sit in the back like that, but they're not great. They're not the same shape as the intake. So I've sanded it out, but I've also come in with this chisel, and I've been scraping that section out along the back just to try and get this to come in and sit better. But once it goes together, you're not wrong one. Sorry, I want this one. It doesn't want to sit because it's not glued in, but it's not playing the game for me. You can see you can't see much once it's in there because it's a narrow entrance to the intake, so you'd probably get away with it, I guess. But the reason I scraped it out was because you can see there I need to do a bit more. There's a gap, so that was what I was getting to. Or your other option is to sand that down. Yeah, so I'm hoping, I've ordered one of those Display battery powered little sanders. I was hoping it's due in the mail. I was hoping I haven't gone down to check yet. It's here today. I can use that to clean these up, make it quicker, hopefully. I've heard they're good, so I'm hoping it is. Alright. So you can see the heap of flash there. I need to clean up before I put the engines in. Alright, the gear bay. So you have to, next step, next page. Like I said, I'm jumping around all over the place. You have to put your gear leg in before you put the wheel bay in, because it fits in the, you can see the slots. So it's extremely sloppy fit. Again, I'm not really impressed with the engineering. And then the strut that lowers the leg will sit, you can see that hole there, it sits in there, and it's going to sit on, there's a little pin on the leg that the shock absorber or the actuator will attach to. But you can see it's really sloppy. However, well, I'm just doing it on the ground, but if you're going to do it like it's just taken off or coming in the landing in flight, you could pose your gear legs. Well, these are the main ones anyway. I don't know about the nose gear, I'm not there yet. But for me, that's a bit ordinary. Yeah, you can see how bloody sloppy it is. It's going to be fun lining all this up. Alright, getting a bit of progress here. So I cleaned up that flash on the fuselage section and glued in the engines. I'll just paint them on there. I'll mask off and paint when I get that far. So I finally got these intakes in. You can see I've a bit of a mess. So I'll have to clean up. You can see there's a seam there that sticks out from the fuselage, so it's not covered, so I have to clean up anyway. These splitter plates make it very hard to get down inside, so I've only filled the seam just a little bit in. This side I didn't worry about, because when the fuselage is on, you're not going to be able to get in on an angle to see it, and even now you can't really see it. And as mentioned, you can barely see the fan back there. So if you wanted to clean the full length of that seam joint, I'd suggest you cut off the tabs for the splitter plates and just put them in after you clean it up. That way you can do it properly. A full seam clean up if you so desire. Gears in. Like I mentioned, it was so when you saw how loose it was, what I did was I glued it in position and sat it like that so that the gear sat down in its position where it's supposed to. I'm I've put the nose gear together. Same deal as I mentioned. If you wanted, you might be able to do it like mid gear up or down. This was loose as well, so you could probably do that. So if you're having it taking off or coming in for landing, it's a different type of display. So now I'm about to, I think I can glue the flaps, ailerons. They say you're putting them in now, but there's no need because they'll plug in, and if you want them to droop, you'll have to cut the tabs off because they're just going to be in the neutral position. Where is it? There it is. So let's see how this bad boy fits. I have fitted it without the intake, so I'm now going to see what it's like with intakes. Speed brake I'm having open, so you got detail inside it. That piece glues in. It didn't fit. I had to I sanded not the piece but the part on the fuselage where it pushes into. to get it to fit, so it needed a bit of a tidy up. It wasn't flash, it just didn't fit. So you got big male female joins or pins to go in. Yeah, I had this before, it fitted. Yeah, there we go. You can see that, I think that's from being in when it was packed or whatever, it was bent those tips, or I could have done it too, I guess, but anyway, it needs to be cleaned up. Now this is where we need to be. Okay, looks like she's going to fit alright. There we go. These tabs are a bit, there we go. That one might need a bit of, it's not quite together, probably need a bit of, well, I will clean up the seams anyway, but that one might need some super glue on it, and at that time I can clean up that lip on the intake. So that seems okay, like it's going to work. And so that seems all good, and then you can come in, like I said, that's glued together. Now it's coming apart. You can just push them in here, so you don't need to put them in at this stage. And I'm going to cut the tabs and have them droop just for a bit of interest of the display, because it's a big flying wing. It's not a lot going on with it. There's little bits that need to go on for the gear doors, the actuators, but I'll just hold off a bit on them because I can see myself breaking them off. So yeah, you can see that speed brake, I'll have it open again to add some interest. So it's pretty much just doing the gear doors and that for the rest of the fuselage, and then we put the wing tips on and the slats. Right, so now I'm going to probably start getting into the cockpit, because it's got that, which one is it, there, all those dials with nothing going on. I'm going to use some of these. So this is the, it's not correct for the aircraft, this is US Navy, I suppose it's glary, US Navy dials, but honestly, if people can tell that when you use these, they're doing a lot better than I am. I'm just going to cut some out, different ones that fit the size. It's really, I'm only doing it because this is a really nice molded part. They've really gone the extra mile here to make it look good, but it needs some sort of visual detail on those bezels and the dials, because otherwise you can dry brush it, but it's still, you got those big ones. It'll look better with something on it. As to how much you'll see when it's together, I think you should. Yeah, you should be able to see it. So I think it's worth the effort. Not surprising to me, like this kit all the way through, there's no, I don't think there was anyway, colour call-outs during the build. So you're going to work on your own knowledge, or so I'll be doing the cockpit RLM 66. The landing gear, the gear bays will be RLM 02. I'm just going with this, the traditional German colours, but like I said, go whatever you want because it didn't exist. Wheels, I've put a round of putty in. I was going to super glue it, but it was pretty deep, so I went with the, I haven't used this for ages, the Tamiya white putty. I'll sand it back, and if there's still any gaps, then I'll use the super glue on that. As you can see, I'm gluing the fuselage together. I just pinch it with some rubber pegs till it sets. There's going to be gaps on the front that I need to take care of. Right, so I've started putting the cockpit together. What strikes me as odd is you can see the rudder pedals. They're directly right under the instrument panel. It doesn't seem right to me, but I could be wrong. I've scrounged through my spare photo etch frets that I didn't use through all my builds and just grabbed some harnesses that felt it looked better than my usual scratch, and I just break one off. And that's the other thing I find may be wrong is this guy's got awfully long legs, but they're not the only manufacturer guilty of that. Now where did that harness go? There it is. No, that's not it. There it is, over here. I'll glue that back on. Alright, I've done a dry fit of the tub into the fuselage. It does fit, but there is ejection pin mark that needs cleaning out. A little bit on the other side, but not as bad as that one. But it did. Can make a lot of them anyhow. It clicks in nice and firm. I haven't tried the other side yet. Should be no problem. Beautiful. I really don't like how they've engineered the kit with the way the parts fit together. But maybe it's just because I'm used to male, female joins. This is be the moment of truth on this kit, and this isn't really ideally I'm trying to do it here, but it might be alright. Maybe pegs flying everywhere. What's going on here? Can see myself breaking things there, but looks at that. It's got to go inside the bottom of the fuselage, and just this part, that lip, will go into that piece there. So I think it's, well, we'll have a look when we get there, but I'm going to force it, while it's in pieces. I'm going to break something. Alright, so I've put those, there we go, air scale decals on. Like I said, some of them are doubled up, but I guess if you get up real close you can see, but once the canopy's on you should be able to see some of that detail, but not specifics, I would imagine. I've painted the seat up. I just need to give it a clear gloss coat. I've just marked in some switches with the just use Posca pens, 0.7 mil tips. I'll give it once I give it a clear gloss, I just need the seat, needs a clear gloss. I'll give it a bit of a wash, probably black or something like that. So the nose gear bay will sits under here, I believe. I didn't look. I should look before I start doing that. I've painted the bomb bay and the main gear wheel wells. They're RLMO 2. I just need to paint the oleos in a chromish colour. And I've got I put the flaps, ailerons on. So like I said, I cut them, the pegs off so I could pose them, and I've put the winglets, wingtips, whatever you want to call them, on. So I've still got to clean up the seam joins yet. Start cleaning up the wheels. give them a prime and see how they look. And I've put the bomb together. I need to clean up that seam as well. I've also cut all the gear doors off, or the rear ones. I've got to do the front one yet, so that I can paint them up while I'm doing the other things. And the bomb bay doors, and I've put in the as you would have seen, those the actuators for the bomb bay doors. What am I looking for here? I'm looking for this. So there, like that maybe. I don't know now. No. Oh no, it's got to come back here. My bad. Oh, okay. That looks better. Almost. It's got to slide forward. Why doesn't that want to slide forward? I better have a look at that. I don't want to force it and crack something. And then I can put that together. And that's pretty much I need to clean up the seam joins before I start priming. Alright, cockpit fuselage halves together. This is alright. So this area where my thumbnail's running over has to tuck inside, and the top will just sit in there like that. So there's no way I could get this in here unless I trimmed a whole heap of this this pieces here, which is actually a support for this to rest on. I've probably taken, I don't know, 2 mil or so off it, and I've cut the bottom so it was longer. I've cut off the bottom as well because it just wouldn't go on, and I didn't want to force it because something's going to give. So now I can get it in, but it's not brilliant. You can see it's going to need some putty there, and the top is also going to need, you can see there's a gap which is going to require some putty, but as you'll clean up alright. But yeah, it wasn't great trying to get it in there. And what I removed, you could probably remove some of this one as well, but you don't take it all off because you need it as a grip for the two pieces to sit together. So the wings, you got the leading edges, there's slats. You can see they're just covered with flash, heavy flash, and I guess you have an option with them to be what's the one? Let's see, 10. Right. This isn't obviously going to fit because I need to clean it up, but so right way should be C10. Ooh. Anyway, they need a lot of clean up, and I guess you can have them somewhat deployed, but the box art, it's shows them is flush, like you can't tell a separate part to the wing, so I honestly don't see them fitting on that good unless you really thin the hell out of the inside of it. But I'll have a look, I'll clean it up properly and then have a look and see how it looks. Alright, just quickly, back again. Alright, I was trying to fit this side. The instructions says C10, that's the right way around. That's C10. And I was like, it's not right, because it's not right. They numbered the part wrong on the instructions. This should go this side. Like so, I still need to tidy up the end of it. So that is a mishap in their parts call out, and that wasn't the only one too. Be careful when you're getting your parts off, just check everything, because I think might have been the actuators and there was something else wasn't correct either. And I also forgot to say, you can see I put a big fishing sinker in there, piece of lead. I think it'll tail sit, even though it may be alright, but I prefer to be 100% sure it's not going to tail sit. So when I set that in, landing gear's in it now, so we can test it. So it won't tail sit. But like I said, if you're not keen to put something in there, just do what I did and just fit it on and try it. Better to be safe than sorry for my part of it. Right, she's all together. The canopy fits great. There's no gaps or lip like it's too wide or anything like that. It fits perfectly. Just the masking of it takes a while. I doubt you'll find an aftermarket masking set for it, so I used Tamiya tape and cut it out. And I've masked up the speed brake and the gear bays and the bomb bay. I've painted in engine colour. I'm trying a new colour I haven't used before. It's Tamiya, their LP range, which is lacquer, LP54 dark iron. I'll see how it looks when I finish the camouflage scheme, how it really, it's just a metallic dark grey by the looks of it, but so it's a bit bland. Might need a bit of dry brushing or something to liven it up. I'll see when I get there. So what I'll do before I start priming is I'll paint RLM 66 over the clear part, so that when you look through it you'll see that colour, the internal. I'm just going with this scheme for this that they've suggested. There is no limit to what you could do with it. So they're calling out RLM 82, 83. Now that's 82, which is supposed to be dark green, and 83 is light green, but this is my RLM 83 and it's blue, so I don't know what the hell's going on there. So I'm gonna just try, I'm just gonna use these two. They're different greens. Like I said, it won't matter what that'll do me for this. I don't know what, that's got me confused. I might have a look through my I bought a whole heap of these years ago, that when they first came out, the AK Real Colours, because I love this paint. I bought a whole heap of German colours, so I might have a look through my Guns, Mr. Hobby, Mr. Colour paints and see if I can find that one If not, I'll just use RLM 81. I think that's more of a brown violet, but anyway. Bottom, they call for RLM 78, but this is the first time I'm going to try this, I forget what they call it, that squiggly line pattern. So I've bought this, and I could only get RLM 76 through who I buy it through, B&A Model World. They didn't have 78, but I have 76. So it's as suggested, a light blue. So this whole scheme is dependent on this. So I hope these things work. They're supposed to be good, but obviously that's on paper. That's not going to be a. But you can see the colour. So that's in the ballpark. Alright, now I'm going to go have a look now through my other paint, see if I do have a RLM 82. Okay, I'm just keeping this simple. Just grey primer, black pre-shading, just Tamiya XF1. No templates or anything. I'm figuring if it actually did exist, it would be pretty new. Wouldn't be seen much action. I've changed my colours, so I have got RLM 82 and 83 in my, that's Mr. Hobby, that's Mr. Colour, and they're asked about with their call outs, which doesn't surprise me. So I will use the colours that are called out for. They're just back to front. So 82 is light green and 83 is dark green. What was the other thing they missed? Oh yeah, the front nose gear door. They don't even show you the there's two actuators. Where is it? So they have to go on there to attach to the bay. They don't even show it. I just knew that because I had 2 parts left on my sprue. Alright, so here we go. It's time to put on the RLM 76. Also, they have alright, the decal sheet is pretty extensive considering they show you one scheme, but we've got a heap of markings to choose from, which is a good thing, so you can do whatever you want. They're all numbered, but they don't give you numbers. So we got the eyes, so you got the coloured ones, white ones or black ones. It's not showing up here that way. There is some different animal markings, but they're all facing the same way. So I guess that could be like a unit symbol. You got like a bird, attack bird in flight, wings swept back. You got the Grim Reaper, which is something I might use on this one. And we got the wasps, and it's a tiger or a panther. Alright, it might be easier to show you the black. So there's a white, yellow, and you got the black ones of each symbol. We've also got Sagittarius up here. The half man, half deer or whatever he is. And you got the Balkan Cruise, different ones. I'm spraying them in. So I'm going to be doing the glare. So I'll do the white one on top and you use the black one on the underside. But this is easy, you just put masking tape down and spray it in. So I won't be using that one, I'm just doing these ones, the simple ones. So they've got it, you got swastika on one side and you got the aircraft number on the other, same as the main wings, but I'll be keeping this sheet, what I don't use, for my other. I've got those two I'm using, hobby high altitude ME262s. I might use some of these markings on them. Okay, so I've got the RLM 82 down. As you can see, I just roughly follow the pattern, and then I'll come in with Tamiya tape and make the hard sharp edges lines for it. I've done the underside and I sprayed in the Balkan Cruise. So I was just noticing when I was watching the call out here for the colours, when I was airbrushing, I noticed, oh, there's a wing, pitot and antenna mast on the back. Well, guess what? No, there's not. There's nothing in the instructions. There's nothing on the sprues, and the box art shows it as well. Just rather odd. They're showing you that, but they don't give you the parts for it. Of course, you can just scratch build them if you so desire. I won't be. I'm just going to leave it as is. But it's I don't know. It's just, I think they're lazy. Okay, masked off and painted the second colour. I really shouldn't be painting at the moment. It's 36 degrees Celsius today here, but I wanted to get it down. So oi, there we go. That's a good way to break it. And I did break it underneath there. And there you go, you get the gist of it. You gotta fix those things underneath. Love splinter camo. So I'll continue taking that tape off, and then I'll have a play with this pen and hope it works. Alright, so I've coloured in. Feels weird to me using a pen, which is, well, it's a paint pen. It feels like a felt pen, and drawing over a model you've painted. It's, guess it worked. I don't know. It's hard to. I'm not neat. My writing is shocking. It's chicken scratch, so it translates into me using a pen. So I've managed a pattern. I've somewhat followed their guide, but some areas I did my own thing, because as usual with paint call outs, you look at some areas, you'll see something, and when you look for a top view, that thing that you see coming up the side won't even be there. So I've just sort of tried to keep the pattern like an even style. You could probably, some areas are a bit, maybe a little bit transparent, but I'm going to leave it like that. But you could probably, well, not probably, you could just come over it again if you want to. It's just a matter of staying in the lines. Anyway, I've done it. I've always wanted to do this style camouflage. I've had a go at it. you can get, I've actually, it's in the mail I think, but it's coming from Europe, a stencil with that pattern on it. The only thing is I'm not sure how a stencil will work getting those curved edges, and it's the same pattern, so if you keep moving it, you got to try and work out how to get it to look right. And some might be able to, I can't. You can't airbrush without getting splatter, speckling on the edges of it, and I think that looks crap. So when I heard these came out, I thought, oh, I might be able to try the old squiggly camo. I can't remember the name of it for the life of me. I know it has a name. So now I'm going to, I've still got my mask from my underside. I'll put it on the wing, spray in the white Balkan Cruise. Then I'm going to give it a clear gloss coat. Oh, I've broken that again. And then I can do decals. So I've laid down this camouflage, the splinter camo. I didn't gloss coat it, so I've done this just over the paint. I don't, because paint's nice and smooth anyway, so I don't think you need to have well, you don't, because I've done it, but it should work just as well over a clear gloss. So yeah, getting there. The decals are on, there's not many. So it's the aircraft number, swastika, aircraft number there, and I've put the eyes on, the nostrils, Thuringen, which is a place in Germany, and I use the Grim Reaper decal. So I just need to let them set longer, and then I'll give them clear gloss over those decals, and then I'm just going to give it a wash with dark dirt, nice and easy. I've painted up all the other parts, the doors, the wheels. I just need to give them a wash as well. Then I'll have a look at these engines when I unmask them, and then it's just put it together, and then we'll have a look at the final result. Alright, there it is, all done. Pretty happy with it. I'm not 100% sold on using that pen to do the lines on it. It's looks okay, I guess. If I ever did another one, I'd try the stencil I'm getting, if I can incorporate that. I love the look of the aircraft though. It's, you know, something different. It'll look good on a SIG table, display table, or a model show or a competition. Luft 46. As for the company Modell Collect, I think I'll probably give them a miss from now on, unless they bring out something else that I really like. It just I don't know, they seem hit and miss. Some of the moulding and that, they do really nice detail, and in some parts they just seem not to worry about it. Generally speaking, this one went together well overall. The wheels though weren't good fits. The wheels to the legs, they were loose, so I super glued them and held them until the super glue bit. So that was disappointing. Also, like I mentioned, how on the box art and the paint call out, you see a antenna mast on the spine and a pitot tube and a wing. Yet they're not in the kit, and they're not mentioned in the construction steps of the instructions. So again, they've omitted something. And along the way, there was a few parts they didn't tell you to put in and things like that. So I don't, you work it out, but it's, you know, they could be doing it better, I think. But so as for would I recommend it, I guess if you want to build this particular aircraft, it's your only choice, isn't it? But it's probably niche, although Luft 46 subjects seem pretty popular to some people. Yeah, so pretty happy with it overall, but something different, I guess. And I got some spare decals. I think I'll use some of them on those. I'm using Hobby ME262s. I got some different markings. I left the engines with just that burnt iron, that Tammy burnt iron. That's good enough. If it was metal all the way up, I would have done more to it, but I think that's good enough. Alright, sorry about the squeaking turntable, it just doesn't want to play the game today. Alright, I'll take some still photos of it now. Thanks for watching.